Good morning and welcome to Rising. Happy Friday. I'm filling in for Amber Duke for the second Friday in a row.
Two Fridays. I'm getting used to this.
Long weeks when you do 5 days in a row. I'm not sure how you do it, Lindsay.
You know what? It's just every working American at home pretty much does these 5-day weeks, and you can on with me, Robby. Look, I'm going to pull him into 5 days.
Now I'm a real working class, roll up my sleeve.
Yes, get your hands dirty.
Yeah, I see how it is.
So we have a lot to talk about on the show besides getting Robby here on Fridays. Coming up on Rising, the FBI has raided John Bolton's house. We're going to definitely discuss that.
Also, Cracker Barrel's new logo change has many people outraged.
And I'll be discussing President Trump's attack on Smithsonian museums. But first, we're going to start like we always do. Robby, what's on your radar?
Can't wait to get to some of these other subjects, but for right now, another day, another reality check for the Democratic Party. Their candidates have alienated Gen Z, particularly white young men, although young men of color aren't huge fans of Democrats either. The New York Times dug into some numbers this week and found the Democratic recruitment drive is failing all over the country. Voter registration used to be a key metric for Democrats, as more voters generally meant more votes for the Democratic candidate. But now mass turnout arguably favors the GOP and Trump. Indeed, the Times analysis found some of the worst news for Democrats revolved around the young male vote. Writes the Times, the party saw some of its steepest declines in registration among young men and younger voters. The Times analysis found 2 constituencies that swung sharply toward Mr. Trump. Polling from Decision Desk HQ bears this out. Data scientist Zachary Danini writes on X, at the heart of the Democratic collapse, young white men are registering as Republicans in unprecedented numbers. Gen Z is on track to be the most pro-GOP generation since the Great Depression. It was 100 years ago. Now, the question that remains is this. Why? Why is Trump's GOP dominating the category? Well, one potential reason is that the Democratic brand just doesn't appeal to young guys anymore. It's too feminine, too hostile even to men. That's what my friend, the independent journalist Zed Jolani, thinks the problem is. He writes on X, Democrats need to explicitly oppose misandry and distance themselves from liberal influencers who demonize men. Misandry is hatred of men. He's hitting the nail on the head. For years, perhaps decades, Democratic messaging has emphasized how our legal system, our economic system, our cultural traditions have harmed people of color, women, gay people, trans people, illegal immigrants, Muslims, Native Americans, the disabled, the economically insecure, and so on and so on and so on. Progressive activists have worked tirelessly to invent new categories of oppression and marginalization because perceived victim status is a ticket to greater influence within the cultural upper echelons of the Democratic Party. And this story of oppression and victimization needs a villain. Ivy League progressives have cast men and white people as the primary antagonists. I think the reason this messaging is especially alienating to young men is that, well, they probably feel like victims themselves sometimes, but they lack the option to describe themselves as such and suddenly enjoy the pity of progressive elites. Yet young men are increasingly disadvantaged in terms of their economic opportunities, their educational outcomes for certain, their health outcomes, and so on. And since older Americans, including, to be clear, older white Americans, are hoarding significant generational wealth, the boomers, for instance, prefer policies that keep their home prices high, sky high, it's harder for young guys to serve as providers and breadwinners. I think it can be really, really hard for them to buy homes, which isn't, strictly speaking, a problem just for men, of course. But a lot of young guys still have a sense, perhaps old-fashioned, that they're the ones who are supposed to be providing these things for their wives and for their own kids, or kids that they would have if they could afford to do so. The Democratic Party seems indifferent to these problems, and its most prominent surrogates often seem like they hate the people suffering from them, by which I mean elite campus liberals, some members of progressive media, and also liberal Hollywood. Until liberals fix this branding problem, male Zoomers are going to be in the Trump camp. And we'll be talking about the Hollywood aspect of this a little later on, as Disney is trying to figure out how can we get this demographic to watch our movies again. And I have some ideas on that.
Well, look, numbers don't lie. So when I saw this, I had to comb through to make sure Robby wasn't putting some icing on that cake.
Oh,
but it was really
the spin zone.
Yeah, I was making sure it wasn't too overly flavorful with your perspective on it. But I was like, oh, wow, this is a problem. Yeah. And I think that there are some solutions. Like, first, you have to address the trust gap that happened with President Biden and going into Kamala and the election results. I don't think that ever was addressed head on. I know that you more want to comb through Biden's cognitive decline, but also I think they should talk about the way forward. And when they start talking about that, address that perhaps that was mishandled. that's fine to do, not harp on it. I also think that they need to get back into the community and have conversations with people like Democrats, unlike Republicans, have been doing all summer recess with their free time home from Congress because they're ready to face the people and talk about how...
I mean, the town halls.
Yeah.
Yeah, young guys are not going to those things.
Yeah.
Those are for old
Fine,
people.
but
They're for old women. They're not... They're for retirees
people are
who have
civically
time
engaged
to go to the town. No.
But third, they should play offense, not defense. So if you see what Governor Gavin Newsom is doing, which I have been tickled by and praising all week, it's the fact that you are getting ahead of it with messaging, with gaining attention, using social media, doing podcasts. These are all effective tools.
Yeah, those things are more.
Yeah, now we want to talk about the policy. So there should be not one accord, because Republicans are not on one accord. So there shouldn't just be one main message, but there should be goals that we're striving to and a few ways to get there that are clearly laid out. Like, the game plan is laid out, like we always talk about. Like with the Republicans, I call Project 2025 the boogeyman that is a, deterrence to what we actually should be accomplishing, in my opinion, for the nation. But you say it was just a laid out plan, right? So there was one that Trump was not acknowledging that he followed, but there was a plan that he is following. Mm-hmm. And so I think the same thing with Democrats. They started this idea. We've interviewed people about creating their own Project 2029. So we'll see if they do. I don't know if they should go with that name, but there should be a laid out guideline on what the exact plans for the party are as a whole, as opposed to, like you did, they overcorrected sometimes, trying to figure out how to be in the forefront of every single social issue. Maybe there are some economic issues that are more pressing that they need to go figure out with local young people. Because like you said, there's a lot of people who are graduating now, can't afford houses, can't even think about having a kid. These are all on young people's minds, and I think they feel overlooked a lot by the conversation that's kind of like way up here with, things that people have the luxury to think about rather than the things right in front of their face.
Yeah. And I don't think you can underrate the effect that the demonization not really from the Democratic Party itself or its candidates, but from the people who are stand-ins for the Democratic Party, progressive commentators, campus radicals, for which, the white men are like the greatest boogeyman that has ever lived. That's had an effect over time, I think.
Well, I think that there is always a need for things like feminism, empowerment, elevating people of color, right, because of systemic issues in our society that have paid women less, put women in positions where they weren't, earning the same thing, or heads of households, denied loans to people of color, things like that have happened systemically built in based on racist systems that we have in place. Or sexist, many things, right? There's still a wage gap between men and women. But I do think that there are ways that you could swing the pendulum way too far and talk about it to a point where even the people who are trying to help or doing something feel isolated by the conversation. And I think I always appreciate we talk about having more conversation with the people that you want to solve things with, as opposed to trying to ostracize and say, we've got this, you're the boogeyman, you're terrible. And so I do think that the pendulum swung a little bit too far, but there always is room for improvement, as I know you can agree when people have these conversations about different communities that feel like they're not, or not even feel, that factually are not on the same playing field.
I just saw this. I didn't put it in my radar because I saw it literally seconds before we were about to go.
Okay.
But apparently there's a new memo. This is in Politico from Democrats. It's a memo, internal memo for 45 words and phrases Democrats are to avoid using that have put a wall between us and everyday people of all races, religions,
Who
and
put this
ethnicities.
memo out?
This is from Third Way.
Okay.
It's within the Democratic. No more therapy speak. No more explaining away crime. No more things that violence as in environmental violence. No more dialoguing. No more triggering. No more othering. No more microaggressions. Holding space. Body shaming. Subverting norms. All of these are words they should stop using.
Holding space and therapy? It's not. I don't agree with that.
Therapy speak is harmful. I'm not supposed to say harmful, but
okay.
Therapy speak is very bad. We'll have to
We'll talk about it more. Some U.S. visa
Too much
holders
therapy.
could lose access to entering the United States. We're going to explain why after the break. Stay with us.
The State Department is now looking into all 55 million U.S. visa holders. The State Department is telling the Associated Press that they're all subject to, quote, continuous vetting. They also released a statement saying this: we review all available information as part of our vetting, including law enforcement or immigration records or any other information that comes to light after visa issuance indicating a potential ineligibility. And this move is being applauded by some conservatives. Charlie Kirk posting this on X saying the media is flipping out to this announcement. Quote, of course the panic says it all. The press doesn't want valuable, useful, desirable immigrants coming to America. They just want an unlimited flood.
But while all U.S. visa holders are now set to be under review, not all of them are living in the United States. Many millions are living abroad and only visit the United States sometimes. News Nation contributor Geraldo Rivera spoke to anchor Connell McShane, ripping into this decision.
These are spouses, these are people with jobs, people who have been here for years, law-abiding, God-fearing, family people, and now they're going to have somebody that they don't know reviewing everything, every aspect, calling them back in, did you really this or that? It makes them automatically second or third class citizens. It's a terrible, terrible idea. It's a waste of time. Is this the way you're going to fight? These are the, supposedly this is going to make the nation safer as you advertise in your successful campaign for a second term. This is the way you reward the people who wanted you to crack down on the worst and the most violent by going to their neighbors and saying, papers, please. I think it's really pathetic.
This comes at a time when Marco Rubio is making an announcement that the U.S. will stop giving work visas for commercials truck drivers. Posting on X, the increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor-trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihood of American truckers. That is in reaction to this news story. There was video of it, of this illegal immigrant truck driver who caused, I think, the deaths of multiple people in making this illegal U-turn that had conservatives very angry for how does this person get in this country. Couple quick points. I know some conservatives actually, their eyes pumped out of their heads at the number 55 million.
I saw a lot of tweets that were incorrect.
That's total visa holders.
Yeah.
That can include people who have tourist visas who are not actually in the country. So in fact, most of those 55 million are not currently in the country.
Right, and I think the alarm based on that number, some people are traveling here, just like if you go somewhere for a week and then you have a 3-month visa, like you're here for the week, for the visit, for the vacation.
Of course, people overstaying visas, whether it be tourist visas or anything else, is in fact our largest category of illegal immigration. It's not people crawling over the border. It's people who came here legally and then stayed once they were supposed to go back.
And the incident in Colorado with the hate crime that happened was because someone overstayed their visa. And I think that everyone, for the most part, is largely on the same page. Polls have shown us that people feel strongly about criminals or anyone who even is trying to plan a criminal act getting thrown out of the country.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that type of immigrant in our country because why would we want to suffer? And, obviously everybody's on the same page with that. But the idea that you want to start to comb through, like Geraldo was saying, every single person that's ever been here or does live here and constantly criticizing them. You're thinking about civil liberties concerns. When you think about some of those people being students and here for visas, trying to elevate what we learn in America and what discoveries come from our American institutions. Now we're isolating those people based on social media posts that they may or may not have put. You love free speech. You love to not criticize somebody by one tweet or one moment that they have. You actually say that you don't like that at all. So the fact that people can't even come here and study because now we have a Justice Department that's combing through every single thing they've ever said on social media to make sure that it aligns with American values, even though we can get upset or criticize Trump as American citizens that do love the country, but someone who comes from Asia can't, it's just kind of, why not? We can criticize anybody.
Oh, because
still
they're not a
visit.
citizen.
I know, but we can still visit. We can say, I don't like that part of this. I like this part, but I still want to go visit this beautiful place because guess what? Leadership changes. Ideas change, people grow. There's different, that's the whole point of a democracy. It doesn't mean I hate this country. I don't want to come here. I don't want to learn about it. I'm not interested and excited to help it grow and develop. It just means I don't like that policy that you did. That's fair. That's the America we live in.
Well, sure, and they have every right to do that. They can do that. Our government can't persecute them for it. Can't persecute anyone for that because we have the First Amendment, which restricts the government from taking any criminal action against you. Being in the country is not a criminal matter, so it's subjected to different standards. If they're just saying we're doing continuous vetting of the people who have been granted an ability to be in this country who are not citizens, and we're just continuously monitoring and looking for whether we made the right call on all of those, could that be applied badly? Sure. I have objected to Khalid Muhammad, is that his name? Muhammad Khalil, excuse me, and other student visa holders who were attempted to be deported or removed from the country purely for expressing political opinions about Israel. I don't know why expressing a political opinion about another country's war has any, it's an attitude that even some members of MAGA hold. So I found that very curious, and I criticize the administration from it. But I don't think I would take the position that once they give you a visa, they should do no further check, or
well, some of them
de facto
some of them
wrong
naturally expire
into it.
themselves, like we talked about those travel visas, or people that are here for business back and forth. That, I mean, it doesn't have to last forever, but neither do visas. Like, even I think,
I mean, if they discover new
information
information that the person who got the visa is a criminal,
for sure,
then I would hope they would,
right?
But, so they're doing continuous vetting,
right? But when we talk about what Geraldo Rivera was saying about what people most voted for Trump when it comes down to immigration for, it was to get criminals and illegal migrants out of the country that were doing wrongdoing in our country, not to remove the farmers and workers and people that are actually enhancing our economy.
You hate America.
And so, no, but that's just such an extreme example. All the farmers are not on X talking about
I
hate America.
I
so
want the farmers.
That's what I'm saying.
I want them here farming.
Okay, so you're gonna comb through 55 million to find the 5 people that you could just probably find by a quick search. That's a waste of resources. But I mean, I guess we can keep talking about this. We will keep talking about this.
Okay, next up, some pretty big news this morning. I bet you've been waiting for this one. The FBI raided John Bolton's house. We'll be with that right after this. New this morning, the FBI has raided the home of John Bolton, a former national security advisor to President Trump.
Now, the New York Post was the first to report the news, saying that FBI Director Kash Patel had ordered an investigation, per a source familiar.
Now, before the raid, Patel wrote on X, "No one is above the law. FBI agents on mission." A senior U.S. official told the Post that the probe involves classified documents, was launched years ago, but that the Biden administration had canned it for, quote, political reasons. In 2020, the DOJ had opened an investigation into Bolton to see if he had published classified material in a memoir that he released that summer. The FBI has publicly said, quote, "The FBI is conducting court-authorized activity in the area. There is no threat to public safety. We have no further comment."
Now, of course, many are now reacting on X. Journalist Chuck Todd wrote, "The senators who were bullied into confirming Kash Patel, how are you feeling today? It's not like you weren't warned that this guy would be comfortable politicizing the agency. Trump couldn't have done this without the weak Senate GOP enabling." Trump is going after all his political opponents, and MAGA is celebrating. Meanwhile, Trump hid classified documents from the FBI and lied about it and has no punishment. We are living in an authoritarian regime.
Elsewhere, many on the right are celebrating this search. Trump's advisor, Roger Stone, said, "Good morning, John Bolton. How does it feel to have your home raided at 6 o'clock in the morning?" And podcaster Nick Sorter proclaimed, "This deep state hack finally being taken down. Perp walk him." So,
look, I'm going to be honest. The timing of this raid feels very politically motivated.
Well, the literal timing is not politically motivated. I saw some people saying, "Oh my God, how could you do this to someone at 5 a.m.?" And
no, not the literal 5 a.m. time. The timing,
just for
the
our
timeline.
viewers,
Yes.
They always do that. If they can, they get you in the middle of the night. They want you disoriented, so that they take you by surprise, so that you don't have time to flush documents down the toilet or whatever it is.
Right, and we were talking about that before, because I'm like, why do raids always happen at this early time in the morning? So
I think it's not a good idea, by the way. I think it makes it less safe for the officers, because
very
you
hostile.
could be confused and you could be thinking you're being robbed and you could attack them, which happens all the time.
Right. I think Bolton's history with Trump is why I raised an eyebrow from being his national security advisor 2018, 2019, to criticizing him on a lot of foreign policy, to writing that book where he called Trump, quote, "a Putin-loving moron." So the words were not minced. Trump's had a beef with this man since 2020 when he released the book. He actually had a probe he had a probe into him around that time. So this is an ongoing, I think, part of the retaliation campaign. And it's really interesting coming from the team or administration under the tutelage of President Trump, who complained endlessly about his classified documents case and the fact that his Mar-a-Lago facility was raided, and thinks this is such a misuse.
It was raided.
I know. He said it was a misuse of justice. He said that he was a victim in all this. So the fact that he would even think that this is something that and go next to Kash Patel and say this is a good idea, it's kind of like, wait, you have to pick a side. You don't like these raids over classified documents specifically.
How can the Chuck Todds of the world possibly object to this? It's the exact same thing Mar-a-Lago got raided from. So how could anyone in the media...
the Lindsey Grangers of the world thought that was extreme.
The Chuck Todds of the world are friends with John Bolton because he's a Republican turned never Trump person, which is their favorite kind of commentator, so they bring him on TV all the time to bash Trump, even though they were calling John Bolton evil for years. I actually do not like John Bolton at all. He's an advocate for war with every nation on earth. He is uniquely bloodthirsty and reprehensible and dangerous and should have been marginalized. He was the first sign, by the way, that the Trump administration, the first time was going to go awry, that they brought him in. But all these people who were so happy, thought it was so important. Oh, he's got boxes of documents that he didn't officially declassify. We got to go get those. Got to send in the feds to take them. How could you possibly object to them doing the same investigation?
I wasn't one of those people. And if there is a law broken and the classified information is really that pertinent, and it's not about this book where he said what I just read about President Trump, and this is really some information that he took and it has unlawful authority over right now, and he shouldn't have. Let's prosecute him. I'm all for it. But if this is, it just feels very much like retaliation. And I am asking for the consistency from somebody who made a campaign out of being a victim.
I'm asking for consistency from our mainstream media.
Fine, on both ends. But I'm saying now who is in charge? Because President Trump and his team like to point to Biden. Well, guess what? Trump, you're in charge right now. And if you think that this tactic was so politically motivated and so ridiculous when it happened to you, why are we repeating it?
They made Biden give back classified documents too, and Pence and everybody. So John Bolton is just being treated the way officials in both parties have been treated by the FBI.
Okay, and then
he is the #1 enthusiast of deep state malfeasance. So
fine, but we don't want to weaponize institutions, and I always talk about this. We're getting into this political back and forth, which I don't like from either party, where institutions not only losing the trust of the American people, but we're weaponizing them for political retribution. And I think that is a terrible slippery slope.
The liberal consensus, just get back to me when they've figured out whether you send the cops to take back boxes of classified documents that they're not supposed to have. Do we do that or do we not do that? Just tell me which way it is.
And ask Trump that. No, it's a victim approach. It's retaliation from Biden, so why are we repeating it? Let me know when Trump decides is this appropriate or not. Otherwise, let's continue to raid Trump.
Trump has decided,
it's one or the other.
This to me,
both people
will
should
do
come
it
to the table.
enemies.
You know how politicians work best? When they have, bipartisanship. And so maybe they should, people who get paid much more than us should come together and figure out how they would like to move forward.
And so I will do it to my
Right, so I'm 12, you hit me, I hit you back, right? Sometimes in school they teach you, let's talk it out. Let's go to the guidance counselor. Let's not punch the guy back in the face, right?
Well, yeah, and the media is saying, I can't believe the guy who got hit is hitting someone.
My point is that both of them should stop. Either Trump needs to decide how he wants to change this
I
precedent.
don't even know that they should stop. You should not have classified documents if you're not part of the government anymore.
Fine, but his book may or may not be based on it. So now we're raiding this man's home. I hope they have evidence. Like, we don't want to continue to raid people's homes because we think they may or may not have.
He bragged on television about, overthrowing other regimes. I don't know.
Everything today we're going to have to keep talking about because we're running out of time. Is Trump trying to rewrite history? That's what I'm talking about next in my lens. I'm going to break it down. Stick around.
All right, Lindsay, what's in your lens today?
We are talking more about the Smithsonian, which I know that we talked a lot about yesterday. So President Trump recently described Smithsonian museums as, quote, out of control for emphasizing, in his view, quote, how bad slavery was. He's accused cultural institutions of rewriting our nation's history, claiming these efforts, quote, undermine America's achievements by casting our founding principles as inherently racist, sexist, oppressive, or otherwise irredeemably flawed. But let's just pause there real quick, because history is not a highlight reel. It's the full story, the triumphs and the traumas. Trying to sanitize historical facts is actually anti-democratic. And here's the irony. In 2017, after visiting the National Museum of African American History and Culture, Trump had nothing but praise. Don't take my word for it, take his.
It's a great honor to be here. This was some beautiful morning, and what a job they've done, like few others have been able to do.
And no, he didn't stop there. Watch this.
This museum is a beautiful tribute to so many American heroes. Heroes like Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Rosa Parks, the Greensboro students, and the African American Medal of Honor recipients, among so many other really incredible heroes. It's amazing to see. We did a pretty comprehensive tour, but not comprehensive enough. So, Lonnie, I'll be back.
He's going to be back. Wait, there's more.
This tour was a meaningful reminder of why we have to fight bigotry intolerance, and hatred in all of its very ugly forms.
Well, back then he understood that America's greatness cannot be separated from its struggles. Exhibits like the one at the Smithsonian take years of work, and they're actually guided by scholars and curators who present the history that's both honest and complete. So what changed? Because slavery is not a footnote, it's actually the foundation of this entire country, literally. By 1840, enslaved labor made the U.S. the world's top cotton producer, enriching both southern plantations, but also all the northern industries. Enslaved people built the roads, canals, and railroads that connected our entire nation. Their forced labor created and concentrated wealth, cementing disparities that ripple through still today. But some people still say, that was so long ago. What does that have to do with me today? Well, everything. Because slavery denied black families the chance to build and accumulate wealth. Meanwhile, white families benefited from programs like the Homestead Act and the GI Bill, which were not equally applied to black Americans. Wealth, like trauma, passes down. That's why today the average black household has less than 1/5 of the wealth of a white household. And practices like redlining and unequal access to capital continue to keep that gap nice and wide. So we can hold two truths at once. America is a place of immense opportunity, and America is still living in the long shadow of slavery, Jim Crow, and systemic racism. To ignore that reality isn't patriotism, it's just denial. And the way forward isn't to sweep it under the rug, but to have leaders who fully comprehend how slavery and the racism that followed it still echo through society today, and who are committed to doing the actual hard work to finally rectify it all. And yet, since returning to office, Trump has shifted. He signed executive orders limiting how black history can be taught. He's rolled back civil rights protections. He's attacked DEI initiatives. He's restored Confederate names to bases and monuments. Not the same guy who once said this about the tour of the National Museum of African American History and Culture, right?
I'm deeply proud that we now have a museum that honors the millions of African American men and women who built our national heritage, especially when it comes to faith, culture, and the unbreakable American spirit.
That same person now dismisses the examination of slavery in a museum as being, quote, too negative. So I have to ask this about, is this all about his cognitive health? Did he not mean what he said in 2017? Or is this an intentional attempt to reshape the story of America and erase the uncomfortable truths that only the glossy parts are left over? And if that is the goal, then let me be clear, that's not patriotism, that is propaganda. Because the real American story, the one that makes us strong, is not about covering up our wounds, it's about confronting them, healing from them, and building a country where the next generation, like my daughter, can stand taller because we had the courage to all tell the truth.
DEI, though?
Yeah, because
that's what we're trying to purge from these institutions.
No, I think I named a lot of things. I think when a president doesn't acknowledge that, we'll start with the actual story at hand, which is the museum and how slavery was too overdrawn, overblown, whatever the words he used in that museum. Saying that what he said in 2017 and coming back with this now makes absolutely no sense. Either you were moved then or you were a liar then. Which one was it? And so his actions as of late, like restoring Confederate monuments, trying to get rid of curriculums and programs and school books that teach about, Black history in different ways that he doesn't like. It's not an objective response, right? We need to understand and learn some of this trauma to experience how this resilience came about, resilience. And when we talk about the civil rights movement, that doesn't happen without slavery. We don't need a civil rights movement unless we had slavery. We don't have systemic racism and then a civil rights movement, right? It's all connected. Like nothing happens. We don't have a black president and the triumph in that moment without experiencing all that this country's been through. We don't have wealth in this country without building it on the foundation of slavery. So when we talk about all that he's doing to try to act like we're past that or so far past the point where systemic racism still affects us, which is why we need diversity, equity, and inclusion, because people were excluded largely out of these good old boys clubs based on systemic principles. So that is what I'm talking about. When he's skipping over the conversation about why this is still affecting us all, which is why I broke down how this is still affecting us all and weaving through our society today.
Everything that happened is still affecting everyone in all contexts. What do you?
That's the point.
We ended obviously slavery. We ended the mistreatment of black people that followed the slavery period. We did civil rights, as you said. We have gotten rid of all of the abjectly discriminatory, racially discriminatory policies of our government and also of private businesses by law. So what is there?
Right, and we're going in government agencies right now and taking out departments that directly affect, making sure that we have equal environments. Naturally, people are not going to choose the right thing and say, oh, I want diversity in this office, which is why programs around diversity were created, because you want to see more people that reflect society. Naturally, people were ostracized from institutions and situations, which is why HBCUs were created, which is why we have this society that was divided. Separatism wasn't that long ago. It's still, grew up in Long Island. It's still extremely segregated. And so we still are growing past some of our pains, which is the country we aim to be, the country we strive to be in our Constitution is somewhere where everyone's treated equally, but there's still multiple ways where people aren't. My parents tried to get a loan for their house and were denied by multiple banks. I'm not sure what your parents' experience were, but simply they couldn't fathom anything else besides they were two people of color because they had incomes, jobs. They broke the story down to me. So that was not that long ago.
That's
illegal. What I'm saying is...
But that's illegal now.
But it happens often. Trump discriminated in his housing practices. It happens often and in our lifetime, which is what I'm saying. We need to rectify this, and we need a president that understands that we still have many ways that we need to rectify this.
My friend, Steven Pinker, who's a professor at Harvard University, writes a lot of great books, said recently, I thought this was a great line, that, well, I support diversity, equity, and inclusion, but much like the Holy Roman Empire that was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire, it involves neither diversity, equity, or inclusion, as instead just a kind of thought police to punish people who disagree with you, particularly in the academic context. In the business context, in the educational context, I usually see it as seminars that have a political agenda. It's not about of course we all want diversity, we want more people to feel included. It's about having fewer people feel included in practice, and about just doing discriminatory, exactly what you're complaining about, discriminatory hiring and admissions processes.
No, I don't think so. I think it's about equaling the playing field. And the equity part is the biggest part of that conversation. And everybody who doesn't understand that, we don't have a lot of time, should look up what equity actually means. And then they would understand what we're asking for, not to take a spot.
It means white and Asian people are
No, it doesn't.
likely
It
to
means
get
that,
admitted.
no, it doesn't. It means that they're starting from the same beginning, and so that they can match up with opportunities. It means given the same resources, we can all move forward in the same way and achieve the American dream in the same way.
People aren't exactly equal.
Yeah, but that's why pulling people up who didn't have the opportunity to access some of the resource and putting them in places like colleges and institutions will provide them the same opportunity for the American dream based on systemic reasons why they weren't able to get there in the first place. This is what I'm saying, why equity is important, because everybody is not on the same playing field, right?
You lost me.
Okay, New York City Mayor Eric Adams' campaign aide had a salty snack and a surprise from one reporter. We'll discuss all the details next. Stay with us. Embattled New York Mayor Eric Adams' campaign aide is apparently bringing the phrase "all that and a bag of chips" to a whole new level. Get this, according to a reporter from the city, a longtime Adams confidant and staffer, Winnie Greco, tried to give the reporter a wad of cash inside of a crumpled up potato chips bag, and not just any bag, her sour cream and onion ripple chips. The reporter, Katie Honan, says the bag she was handed contained a $100 bill and multiple 20s.
Let's break down exactly what happened. According to Honan, Greco asked to meet her at a Whole Foods near Adams' newest campaign office, and she says the staffer kept insisting she take the bag of chips, despite her declining several times. Once Honan opened the bag and discovered the money, she said she called Greco to give it back. The aide said she wasn't in the area anymore. Honan tried texting her after, but did not get a response.
Now, the news outlet contacted Greco about the mistake, and she repeatedly apologized, saying, quote, "I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. It's a culture thing. I don't know. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad right now." Greco called back, advising the outlets to call her attorney, adding, quote, "Can we forget about this? I try to be a good person. Please, please, please don't do the news nothing about me." She said also, quote, "I just wanted to be her friend. I just wanted to have one good friend. It's nothing."
Greco has been suspended from her position in Adams' re-election campaign as of Wednesday evening. As you may remember, the FBI did raid 2 of Greco's homes last year, which prompted her to resign from her role as the city liaison to the Asian community. This story is what they call all that and a bag of chips.
This is ridiculous. Like, I don't understand. Like, they just need to just pack this whole thing. Everybody associated with Adams just needs to just fold it up. I don't even know who he's working for anymore.
Say that.
No, I don't know who he's working for anymore, because on the one hand, you think about being a New Yorker and the constituents in the Democratic Party that you represent, it's like a race to see who can get the furthest away from President Trump. And he just aligns himself based on some corruption nonsense that he has going on. And that's his new play. And now he wants to be some kind of independent or whatever he's doing. But besides that, he has like a repeated history of clown behavior. Like he's at a serious press conference talking about, oh yeah, I remember this area because I used to visit shorties over here, meaning girls that lived in the area when he was younger. Like it's childish. Okay. It's childish. Okay, Robby knows what shorties are. So either way, I just don't find his behavior that of some, like it would be hilarious if this was my homeboy who I just get drinks with on Thursdays, but this is not. He's leading, an entire part of the U.S. and not being a serious person. His team is not serious. Handing somebody money in a bag of chips is not serious. Like I just don't even know what to say. It's just like
this woman, this person should not be involved. Obviously, it seems like. What is she? She's foreign. She thinks?
There's no. She said my culture. There's no culture
corruption?
where putting money in a bag of chips. Talking about honey, take not even honey, whatever.
I'm not sure there's no culture.
Okay, but what is that? Like, come on, this is not
bribery.
Yes, exactly. Or if you're trying to barter at a local market, like okay, no, just take the 20. I'm going to buy. Like I don't know what she's doing
in her homeland. I should have done more preparation for this story. Is she's Asian?
There's no that I know. I have Asian friends. There's no culture. I can do a group text after this show where people are rolling up $100 bills and 20s to a reporter and saying, "Take this. I want a new friend."
It's Asian specific. I'm just...
Either way, whatever culture she is. Rolling up money and putting it in a bag just screams more corruption. And when you think about what Adams got in trouble for being indicted on bribery charges, this is like really rich that his own teammate is also trying to what seems like bribe a reporter. Yeah. I mean, she obviously couldn't take that. Otherwise, she could risk losing her entire job. Look at that. Look at this. The zoom in. What is that? That's no culture. No culture is doing that. What are you doing?
Well, Adams seems corrupt. He seems to have surrounded himself with people who are corrupt. He still might be, in my view, the best choice for mayor, unfortunately, of the people running.
We talked before, and you actually said, out of all people, if it's Cuomo or Mamdani, I hate to say this, but I would pick Mamdani.
I could never vote for Cuomo because of
how strongly you feel about COVID
killings. There isn't a choice though, just between the two of them. There's two other people. There's Curtis Sliwa, who
it's over. Mamdani is winning.
I'm not. Yes,
stop even naming other people.
Okay, I accept that Mamdani is going to win,
and Eric Adams is not serious. So the people that are on the ballot for real is Mamdani. The
incumbent mayor is pretty serious.
I know, but he's not taking himself serious. His party doesn't take him seriously. They think they're going to bribe their way to the top. Like, this is showing me that you're a serious person.
Defund the police is queer justice.
Mamdani is providing, and people could argue with me all day. I make the connection. Mamdani is speaking to the same things that your first segment talked about how Americans and
abolishing the police.
No, young people feel very detached because they can't afford anything. Mamdani and more young people are moving towards Mamdani because he's talking about money. He's talking about affordability. He's talking about what he's going to do for young parents, particularly. Those will be the ones that usually can't afford stuff. That's one particular thing that he said in the past.
He said that as recently as all of Cuomo's misdeeds were the same time period.
That is one thing, but the rest of the thing he's talking about is the economy. Trump said plenty of things, but when he started talking about the economy and how he's going to make it better, although he hasn't done so yet,
well, Mamdani's not going to make it.
Well, this is what his argument is. He said he's going to make it affordable and accessible for people in New York. And so you're seeing by the numbers, look how far up he is. He's 19 points last time I checked, ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, he's going to win. So, there's no doubt about that.
Unlike your perspective as a non-New Yorker, there are plenty of people in New York who are like, bring it on, bring them prices down, make groceries more affordable.
I was just
do
in
everything
New York
that you like to do.
And
you talk to some people who
how much I hate it there. I'm such a DC person.
What's wrong with New York? I just
don't like it.
What's your issue with New York? I love New York.
I don't care for it. I don't know why. I never have.
You know what? You go there once a week for the last month. You like it enough to spend your time there, okay? Quick train ride.
I'm just a hardworking guy, so it's not a quick train ride. It's like a 3.5-hour train ride. I don't. It's unclean. It's our city
is DC spotless?
DC's more. It's cleaner than New York.
Oh, okay. I gotta take a deeper look around. I've been seeing. You guys have federal authorities here right now, kind of sweeping over the place because how dirty it is, allegedly. With all the homelessness and everything that Trump is saying
every day.
So I guess in these 30 days we're gonna see the exact DC that Robby wants, because we're gonna get to the place where you all aspire to be in 30 days, or actually 20 now, 19 that are left.
I don't know, Lindsey. It seems there was like 0 murders in the last week or whatever.
Well, I'm happy to hear
Isn't
that.
it nice
and
to
didn't
be in a
Trump
city
go out
that has
yesterday?
0 murders?
Wait, didn't Trump go out yesterday and patrol? Oh no, he said he was going to go out and patrol in the streets, but he went to a nice, safe, base and just lectured the people.
The police need to go.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the police need to go to the areas where there are crime. That we can agree on.
The local police, fine. Famous restaurant chain Cracker Barrel, I've been waiting to talk about this, is modernizing and changing its logo and the restaurant look, but not everyone is having it. We're going to talk about it right after this.
No one is having it.
So the famous Southern-style chain restaurant Cracker Barrel is changing the logo. That's it used for the last nearly 50 years. This change, along with Cracker Barrel's plan to renovate its restaurants and give them a more modern feel, but not everyone is on board. As it debuted, the new logo seen here, the company said, quote, "The updated visuals will appear across menus and marketing collateral, including the 5th evolution of the brand's logo, which is now rooted even more closely to the iconic barrel shape and the word mark that started it all."
Here's what Cracker Barrel CEO had to say about the rebrand when she appeared on Good Morning America.
I think what's important is that we are listening to our guests. We're doing this all for them. What they've said is they love the new seating. We're adding in booths, making the chairs more comfortable, putting in new lighting, brightening up the paint color. But what's important is things that people love about Cracker Barrel, the soul of Cracker Barrel, is not changing.
The changes are not being received very well on social media at all. Political YouTuber Benny Johnson said of the new logo, "It's absolutely horrible. When will they learn?"
Even the Democratic Party official account wrote on X, quote, "We think the Cracker Barrel rebrand sucks too." Dang, getting no love. I mean, they did take out the main logo. Like,
yeah.
It took out any characters. It's just text now. But I know that it's so much outrage because it's like supposed to be boring or whatever. But also, many people have done this. Like, I just passed Edible Arrangements walking around D.C. near DuPont yesterday, and it just says edible. Okay, they're just like making things simple. Like Nike got rid of the capital Nike on top of the check. You just see a check, right? This is over Facebook, right? It got shorter, right? You just
the Facebook.
Yeah, it used to be the Facebook back in the day. MasterCard. You see the 2 circles now. Dunkin' Donuts is not even donuts, just Dunkin'. Everybody runs on Dunkin'. All you see is Dunkin' above. So it's okay to
radical reactionary conservative that I think nothing should change ever. I don't think that at all. But Cracker Barrel has a very iconic and easily identifiable brand with the little guy.
Is that unidentifiable to look at?
The little guy leaning against the barrel, and you lose that. It's like, why? And why spend? I bet they spent $28,000 gajillion on having a bunch of people in a boardroom brainstorming when no one wanted this change, no one likes this change. And honestly, while we're all making fun of it, it's kind of a minor thing. But the actual, the way the restaurant looks on the inside, it had this kind of, country-esque charm. I won't say I'm like a big devotee or that I think I have eaten there before in my life. I don't go there regularly, but people like it because it feels
like
country, old-timey,
classic,
familiar, and you just sanitize that to make something that looks like every other modern restaurant. And to be clear, I like modern restaurants. That's the kind of thing I like, but your existing customers don't. And too many companies, this is very true in media, I've learned, think that they need to do something new and different to get a new and different audience, new and different customers, blah, blah, blah. When you do that, you lose the customers you have. Successful businesses in every sort of realm, that you give it to your people the way they want it, and that's your business model. And when you get stupid, creative ideas about other things, you just alienate the people you do have.
Consistency is what you're saying.
Yes.
We need consistency. So I talked to Colin about this because Colin's my partner. He grew up in Texas, and he liked Cracker Barrel. He thought it was fine exactly as it is. He's like, I don't know this.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the issue was or is. So I'm just trying to understand. I make sure that I understand all the outrage, though. You said like a lot of conservative people, is this supposed to be woke?
Yes.
Some people, but why? Why? Democrats don't like it either. So I don't understand why this is getting pinned on the Democrats.
Well,
and I listen.
No, Democrats are smart.
I really hope that you don't pull
in
in on this thing that you did not care about, right? A lot of Democrats love to jump in a conversation like Sydney Sweeney that I don't think they were really caring about until someone said the Democrats care about it.
They're making sure they don't get Sydney Sweeney here. They're making sure they want to be on the record saying we are not saying this is good. it's woke. Because, I mean, they got rid of it's a white guy next to the barrel, and they erased him. And let me finish. And you know, it had a kind of, again, old worldy, just lightly culturally conservative charm that is being erased. And before any conservative knew who the CEO was, you could have guessed
Don't
that
even
it was
say it.
a white woman. An older white woman.
And what does that mean? Older white women have a ton of views. I mean, as somebody who lived in
Conservatives
Scottsdale,
have
Arizona,
identified older white
one of the
women.
reddest states, in Colorado, you know what I mean? A purple state. Like, what do
Conservatives,
you mean?
I'm not saying this. Conservatives have identified middle-aged white women as the woke demographic, who are the ones bringing.
That,
woke
you know what?
change.
You know what I hate so much about this? Like, woke is like such a co-opted term. It's so disrespectfully co-opted. Like, how it just aligns with, you said middle-aged white women, blows my mind, because the idea of it came about for people of color who actually have awoken to the realities of the world.
Well,
and
black guys are not woke, so it is different.
I just don't.
Maybe.
That's so ridiculous. I don't understand how
On
woke got
some
associated
level,
with.
you are correct that it's ridiculous, but
It's
on the other
ridiculous.
hand, if you showed me the before and after of this, I would go, yeah, woke.
So as much as I would look at this and see that there's no friction because Democrats aren't jumping into the fight of like, oh no, we need this new logo. What's wrong with it? The font looks very similar. Okay, it doesn't, like, if you have no problem walking past a Dunkin' only, okay, then you should have no problem walking past a Cracker Barrel with no man leaning on
No
a
problem.
barrel.
I'm not like, I didn't
It shouldn't,
wake up
like-
with a cold sweat in the middle of the night, go, Cracker Barrel! Oh my God, what they did to it!
But other
It's
people
just
are online
annoying.
spending the time, all caps. You know what I mean? Like,
It takes 6 seconds
No,
to be like,
spending the
wow, this
time
is
arguing
dumb.
with people.
Woke ruins everything.
but why is that woke? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this broad stroke brush of like saying this is woke that doesn't make sense. This white lady
Some things
decided
are
that
fine
she
the
doesn't
way they
want
are
a
and
man
should be
leaning
left
on a
alone.
barrel as her logo, and now
That's
she's
woke.
woke.
You just described woke. Some things are just fine the way they are and can be left alone.
But
Can
that
we
might
agree
not
on
be
that?
woke. That could just be bad business decisions. Why is that woke?
Woke is always a bad business decision.
Oh my gosh.
In the view of,
Y'all just trying anything, throwing pasta at the wall.
That does it for us on Rising Live. Look out for more exclusive YouTube content coming your way, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Hills YouTube channel so that you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. See you later.
Have a great weekend.